There's often more than one way to play some of our favorite games, and you'll never guess how deep the rabbit hole actually goes. There are secret systems and game modes that completely change the way we play. We got 10 cool games that have this stuff in them, so let's just get started off with number 10. The stock market and GTA 5, dude. The stock market, it's everywhere in the game, and playing the numbers can change how you play the game, kind of like in real life. Some players swear that assassinations targeting different companies or constant robberies will drive stocks up or down, letting you play the stocks and earn even more cash from your criminal escapades. Stocks are tracked from 2 different websites in GTA 5, and every major company has a rival, so you can buy or sell stocks whenever you want to earn a quick profit, or watch the weekly predictions and try to plan for a big payday. The stock market is a living, breathing animal that's also totally weird and sometimes vague and sometimes makes no sense. After thorough research and testing from players, it isn't exactly clear that any of the information presented in GTA 5 is real. Even the website's stock tickers and market value numbers just don't add up. Maybe that makes the stock market in GTA 5 even more realistic. Nobody has any clue what they're doing, and everyone is just collectively hoping for the best while gambling for more money. If you're a gambling gamer, you might get hopelessly addicted to playing the stock market. And just imagine what we'll get in GTA 6. Will stock trading become even more elaborate? Maybe it'll have crypto? Maybe you could start your own crypto investment schemes? There are so many ways we can dubiously earn money in video games that Rockstar needs to really explore. Now over at number 9, one of the more fun uses of the classic Konami code in recent memory is in Gameranx. It has an entirely alternate way to play if you use this infamous cheat. So, starting from the beginning, obviously, the Konami code is a reoccurring cheat code found in many old Konami games, especially the Contra series on NES. The code became so famous, you'll find it referenced everywhere in video game circles. We probably didn't need to explain it. I felt a little awkward doing that, but anyway, even if you've never played a game with the code, you probably heard of it. And the Konami code here unlocks something really cool in Gameranx. By putting it in on the main menu, up, up, down, down, left, right, BA, start, you'll unlock a guy with a machine gun that replaces your default Castlevania knight. Being able to blast everything totally changes how you'll play the game, letting you kind of run and gun through hordes of endless monsters. You die in a single hit, but you start the game with 30 lives. Like in Contra, you'll respawn instantly when you fail. This is a totally different experience, and we can't get enough of silly stuff like this. We absolutely want more game developers to add big change-ups like this in their games. Now over at number 8, in a game that's already packed with so many secrets, the unlockable engineer archetype might be one of the biggest in Remnant 2. It's also found right at the start, so you can start playing around with this overpowered class pretty early. Now, Remnant 2, if you don't know, is kind of randomly generated Dark Souls with guns and unlockable classes. I'm paraphrasing, but yeah, those classes kind of completely change how you'll play, and the engineer class gives you access to heavy weapons and these cool deployable turrets that just kind of shred enemies. How anyone figured this out, we have no idea. Basically, on one specific map region that spawns randomly, there's an area outside the map where you can sprint to and collect a unique item called the alien device.
I don't know what this is. Maybe Wallace will know.
This component can be crafted into an engram, which unlocks the engineer. Finding it is ridiculously hard, even if you know where to look. The thick fog outside the map just makes it hard to see, and it's extremely toxic to make it more challenging. You'll die whenever the meter is filled. No poison, just instant death. So that means you'll have barely enough time to run over to the item and grab it, which you won't be able to see from the edge of the map because it's so foggy. This is one alternate playstyle nobody figured out without a guide handy, but it is definitely worth it. Next, over at number 7, shifting gears quite a bit, Bug Fables. This is a charming little indie game patterned after Paper Mario that has its own adorable spin on it, but if you're feeling like punishing yourself, there's a diabolical alternate way to play. Instead of like leveling up like normal, you'll earn no EXP from enemies in Luigi mode. Yes, that's what they're calling it. By inputting this like secret code in the name menu when starting a new game, Bug Fables begins with a lot of special modifiers. In this mode, you won't gain EXP like normal. To level up, you'll need to spend cash, called berries. Basically, you'll need to buy all your enhancements, totally changing how you'll play. You'll need to collect items and sell while stockpiling cash for that next level up. And money isn't easy to collect in Bug Fables, so you'll have to start relying on alternate methods to collect plenty of berries. Fighting enemies isn't good enough, and the enemies get tougher whether you want them to or not. This small change totally alters the tempo of like a very charming kiddie-like RPG, and shows how a small secret game mode can make a second playthrough feel like a totally new experience. Now, next over at number 6, we've all played collectively like hundreds and hundreds of hours of Elder Scrolls Oblivion, and there's one way to play that, honestly, we didn't know existed. You can actually create a complex web of goblin warfare in the province of Cyrodiil. There are 7 goblin tribes that will go to war with each other when provoked, and this mechanic isn't explained anywhere in the game. And that's the other thing, who even knew the goblins had tribes? In the open world map, there are 7 unique tribes with their own chieftain. If you take the sacred goblin totem staff item away from a tribe and plant it in a different tribe, tensions will build until there's an all-out goblin war in your sector. Dropping the staff anywhere will cause the goblin tribe and their chieftain to literally walk to that destination, raiding the area to get the staff back. Normally, they don't face any resistance, but if they enter another goblin tribe's domain, the battle keeps going until one of the chieftains is dead. This is kind of sort of like an early version of the Civil War in Skyrim, but the Oblivion system is just totally sandbox and prone to weird bugs. The system exists in Oblivion in this bare bones kind of way, but it's still so fun to play around with. You can swap around the staff and watch goblins just go wild on each other. Other players have reported that the goblin spawning becomes kind of unreasonable fast. The game will start chugging as more and more goblins spawn in the same spot, just trying to win this infinite war against several tribes at the same time. Grab staffs and spread chaos across Cyrodiil with one of the weirdest systems in one of the biggest games ever. We absolutely love it. Now, next over at number 5, Inscription. It's this roguelike card game adventure where you move your piece on a board game map and defeat different opponents in these cool card battles. At least it starts that way. Maybe light spoiler alert here, but in the style of secret games like, Frog Fractions, there's so much more to Inscription than a card game. What starts out as a straightforward roguelike becomes something much weirder, mutating into this different type of game as you just go deeper and deeper into the darkness. To progress past the initial area of Inscription, you'll have to follow a secret set of actions. Finding the special dagger item reveals messages everywhere that give you clues to your next steps. You'll need to earn the camera and film, and then after taking the right pictures, you'll get up and actually explore the cabinet area. That kind of just seemed like it was a backdrop for a card game. Yes, this game has 3D elements you can explore. It's like playing Balatro and then discovering a game like the Stanley Parable is inside of it. And it only gets more complicated. complicated. There are more cards and battles in the next chapters, but the later game is hijacked by a totally different game master, and you'll reach a totally different backdrop, the factory, which you'll also be able to explore fully. You can play this game like a regular card game, or you can play it how it was meant to be played, kind of like an ARG in disguise. And it's cool as hell, man. Now, over at number 4, Call of Duty, it's one of the biggest franchises in video games, and despite that grueling yearly release schedule, sometimes the developers still manage to pack their games with secrets and weird bonus modes. One of the biggest examples is any Zombies map. The earliest zombie maps seemed like they were all about survival, but eventually they transformed into secret quests with hidden objectives. They became more about that than the survival. They had tasks you needed to complete to fight endgame bosses with like these full cutscenes. It's cool. For a brief moment, also, zombies became part of the campaign. In Black Ops 3, after finishing the campaign, you'd unlock an additional Nightmares mode. This bonus mode completely remixes the main story, swapping out soldiers for zombies. You can even play this mode cooperatively, so then you and a friend can just blast through armies of the undead while completing levels in pretty familiar locations. Zombies join human soldiers and robot killers to make this one of the weirdest, craziest campaigns in Call of Duty history, and it's all a bonus mode we've never heard anyone really talk about. This mode has power-ups dropped by enemies and a mystery box you can open for a random weapon reward. It's like one of the most fun alternate modes in any mainstream shooter, and it's the only campaign remix in the entire series, really. I mean, yes, there's arcade mode for the original Call of Duty 4 with score and extra lives, but Nightmares mode here has a totally different story told through these voiceovers. That's a lot of work for what kind of seems like a forgotten game mode, but it's cool. Now, of course, at number 3, one of the most famous examples of an alternate way to play a game in video games are the bonus characters in Castlevania Symphony of the Night. By starting a new game with the title Richter, you'll have a powerful Belmont in your control. He's a badass, and he plays wildly different from Alucard. Instead of unlocking new abilities through exploration like Alucard, Richter has all his skills unlocked at the start, and many of them aren't really suited for the castle. You'll need to use some advanced movement techniques to traverse every area of the castle grounds, and Richter can also be ridiculously overpowered. His item crash abilities can wipe out bosses fast, but he can't access every part of the castle, and he doesn't even have a story. Another weird mode that we have to talk about is the old axe armor. By using the gravity boots on the librarian, you can obtain a special set of armor that transforms Alucard into the Axe Lord enemy sprite. The armor is slow and can barely jump, but it's also immune to lots of status effects and deals high damage with this big axe. It's just a weird little thing that everyone needs to experience in one of the best games ever. Now, at number 2, man, the Witness just chews your brain up and spits you out. When The Witness, this puzzle game, was done with us, man, we had piles of notes and drawings of lines on grids and just a whole different set of rules to live by. There's so much to discover in The Witness, and some of the biggest puzzles are right in front of your face the entire time. And we're not even talking about the secret ending at the start of the game. There are dozens of puzzles hidden in the environment itself. You're not just drawing lines on lit up screens, you can solve puzzles cut into walls of the island. You're free to open up your white icon and start drawing lines to anything that looks like a circle. By lining up the world in just the right way, you'll be able to solve the true secrets of the island. You thought this was a game about completing challenging puzzles on square boards? No, there's an entire world of puzzles that some people really didn't even notice. It only takes a couple dozen hours of puzzling to really figure it out. And there are so many more we missed. Now, down at number one of my personal favorites, but some context first, sometimes Star Wars games, they make the lightsaber feel like this glorified wiffle ball bat. You're swinging your sword made of pure energy around, and you're just kind of whacking them and sending them flying, and they're getting up. Shouldn't you be slicing and dicing in a single swing? Everybody asks this question, and Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast fixes this problem with one of our favorite cheat codes of all time. By putting the code in G_Saber Realistic Combat 1, you'd upgrade your lightsaber, adding far more dismemberments to your attacks and chopping up enemies in a single hit, even if you throw the lightsaber. This is totally a double-edged sword though, because your enemies can also slice you up in a single attack too. The realistic lightsaber cheat completely changes how you play Jedi Knight 2. Hilariously, even your own lightsaber can kill player character Kyle Katarn if you're not careful. Throwing your lightsaber becomes a pretty risky maneuver, like when that spinning blade comes flying right back at you. And Jedi Outcast is packed with enemy Force users and like Sith acolytes, so every encounter with them becomes a life or death duel. The right swing will put them down for good, and you can defend yourself by deflecting their lightsaber strikes, but screw up and Mr. Katarn will end up with a chopped in half torso like a lot of his enemies. It's cool though. This cheat is so well remembered, mods for Jedi Survivor, the newest one, carry on that realistic lightsaber combat tradition. There's something so fun about playing a breezy action game with one single aspect pushed to the extreme. That lightsaber is both a blessing and a curse, and we wouldn't have it any other way. Now, those are 10 of our favorite games you can play totally differently. We didn't even get to talk about all of our favorite alternate ways to play a game, like dueling with tipping vehicles or Halo, or spawning enemies and watching them fight in Half-Life. There are so many weird secret modes and hidden features in games. We want to know some of your favorites in the comments. Be sure to hit us up. If you like talking games every day with us, clicking the like button's all you got to do. It helps us out. Thank you. But as always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.